So once our blocks are finished, it's time to go ahead and put in the zippers between blocks A and B and blocks D and E. So this is A and B, and this is what it looks like after your zipper is installed. You can see we have the zipper in here and there's a pocket inside. And it's a zipper by the yard, which I'll talk about in a minute. On the inside, which you will never see because it'll be lined, this is where your actual pocket is. So let's talk about the zipper by the yard. This is Zipper by the Yard by Sally Tomato, which is really kind of cool. It's 3 yards of zipper to number 5 nylon zipper, and it has nine poles in it. So this zipper was enough to do both my large twisted tote and my medium twisted tote. And when you get it, it's got the poles. These are the poles. You can get a bunch of colors, different color poles. The poles are separate, and you install the poles onto the zipper tape. And then what we need to do is cut our zippers to size. So you can see, hopefully, that I've got some stitching here, right here. What I did was figure out how long I want it. I lay it on my block, do a couple of markings, and then I take it to the sewing machine and I will stitch 2 lines of stitching right through the nylon zipper teeth. It sews very simply, and then I will cut it in between. But first, make sure your pole is in the middle of that because you don't want your pole way down here. And then as you go, you'll just advance more poles. I'll bring another pole down here, and I'll figure out how long I want my next zipper to be, and I'll do my little stitching and I'll cut them apart. So we'll cut this one off. Right here. So this zipper is ready to go. And the first thing we do is we install it in our zipper, our pocket lining. So this is my pocket lining. You'll cut it to size depending on what size bag you're doing. And you're going to lay this on your table right side up. Your fabric is right side up. And we're going to put our zipper on the top here, also right side up. And I'll take it to the sewing machine and I will stitch right down the middle of this zipper tape. So I've stitched down the middle of this zipper tape. You can hopefully see it. It's a little bit different color thread. So now with this laying just like this with the zipper and the fabric right side up, if you flip this over the zipper and you take your fabric and you fold it right sides together, what you'll do is stitch your fabric to the other side of the zipper tape. If I turn it over, you'll see. So we're going to stitch right along the middle of the zipper tape, so it kind of will make like a tube. So before we go any further, I went ahead and grabbed my blocks A and B, or it could be D and E because they're installed exactly the same way. And if you remember this little section here where we stitched on for our zipper, I went to the iron and pressed it just a little bit past my basting stitch on both of these blocks. So you can see where I pressed it under. So now I'm going to take block A and my little zipper pocket that I just made, and you want to make sure, if you need to, give this a little press so your fabric doesn't get caught. Just lay it flat on your cutting table. Take your block A and go over to the sewing machine, and we're going to edge stitch right along the fold right here. Now I haven't, until this point, I haven't used a zipper foot, but this time I recommend you do. So we'll use a zipper foot and we'll just stitch like right along that fold like an edge stitch. And as you get to the zipper pull, you can stop with your needle in the fabric, lift your foot, pull out of the way, and just keep right on going. So it's actually going to be stitching on the back side. It'll be stitched right along here. So we'll come back when that's finished. So here I've got my top stitched block A onto the zipper tape. So now I'm going to put in block B. So if you carefully pick this up and flip your pocket underneath this block, and I also just get under there and make sure that it's completely pulled down and out of the way. And then all we do is we take our next block B and we line it up, kind of align your basting stitches across, and we'll use the zipper foot again and we'll top stitch right along here. So here we go, we're just about finished. So I've got my two sides top stitched to the zipper tape. The pocket is still free, so we still want that free. And we want to be sure when we unzip it, it's smooth, that we don't have anything caught before we finish this up. I did take it over to the ironing board and tug a little bit on the underside of the pocket and made sure that it was not going to be caught up, you know, like one of these type of things. Make sure it's nice and flat under there, and gave it a press. And the final step for this would be to go to the sewing machine and do a final stitching of the sides. I kind of start up here, go over my teeth again, just to be sure they're secure. And I stay within the seam allowance, go over the teeth, and sew to the end of the pocket. I'll do that on both sides, and then I can trim up the little bit extra that's hanging out. And we're ready to do all the zipper blocks exactly the same way. So I've got all my zipper blocks up on a wall. I've got my two A and B blocks. These are both A and B with the zipper in between. The C block is down below. And then these are my D and E blocks. Same thing, zipper in between D and E. The F block is down below. The next step is to stitch the rows together. So I'll stitch this zipper block section to a C, same with this one, and I'll stitch the D and E to the F, so we'll have two of each. So I've stitched my sections together. I have my block A with my zipper, block B, block C, and a second one of those right there. And then here I have block D with a zipper, block E and block F, and a second one right there. So now we're ready to cut some lining. The next step before we stitch our bag together is to go ahead and cut our lining pieces. So you can measure this piece here. Each of your pieces should be the same, and you'll cut out 4 lining pieces the exact size of your other 4 zipper pieces.